Hey stars, it's me, Shorter Star, and I'm back. Listen, I hope you guys are starting off your work week, vacation week, whatever this week brings to you. I hope it's a pleasant start of it. I'm drinking my zero sugar iced tea and lemonade mixture from Turkey Hill, even though I haven't heard anything from them. I will tag them again in this video. Um, Again, if anybody has any products from diabetics that's good. There's some stuff out there, but it's horrible. If you come across some things good to drink with no sugars and things, just little recipes, please comment on this and let us know. It's millions of us out here. Okay? Listen, I know that I usually bring you guys these stories about the airlines and how poorly they've been doing, for a lack of word, poorly they've been doing since the beginning of this year or the beginning of this administration. However, did you guys know that there was a flight? This just happened, right? There's a flight from Madrid to New York. Well, it had to make an emergency landing on this small island of Azores due to an engine problem mid-flight. Did you know that the passengers, it was over 300 passengers, they had to stay on this island for 31 hours? I don't know anything about the island. I see a little picture of it. Doesn't look like much. Okay. But again, over 300 passengers had to stay on this particular island for 31 hours until they sent another plane to get them. This plane, again, had to land because it was having engine problems. Allegedly, they heard a big boom, and the next thing they know, they're being told that they have to do an emergency landing. Now, I personally didn't hear anything about this, and I'm like, what's the big deal? These things happening every other day, pretty much. It's not that. It's the fact that you had to make an emergency landing on a very small island, and the passengers had to stay on this island for 31 hours before you can send another plane to get them. And I don't understand why 31. That's over a day. A day is only 24 hours. So what in the listen, I don't make it up. I'm just bringing you the news, okay? Because again, I didn't hear anything about this. Okay. When also one more plain thing, and then I'm going to let that go. I'll just spread them out during the course of the week because I came across at least 6, 7, 8 stories that's happened in the past week, right? So states plane crashes and explodes into massive fireball on runway outside of London. Okay, now mind you, this just happened on Sunday. This just happened on this Sunday. Okay, so I'm going to let you see this little picture. I'm not going to show you the video, but I am going to show you the picture that they have up. And this is the thing. Plane crashes, explodes into massive fireball on runway outside of London, right? And this is what it looked like from the airport. Because everybody has a camera phone. This is other people loading onto another plane, and this is the picture that they're seeing. This is what they're seeing from a small private plane that allegedly crashed and exploded. Yeah, so again, I want to wish condolences to the families that's been affected. And that's all we can do. This stuff is happening so much, so often, And right now here in New York and New Jersey, like today, they said the temperature was supposed to be anywhere between 181, 82. It's now like 86, and the humidity is off the chain. So I'm thinking we may be into a heat wave at some point of this week. Today is Monday, so we're thinking maybe Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I don't know, but okay, let's get into some political talk a little bit. Now, I don't know how many of you guys that are aware that President Trump and Rosie O'Donnell have been going back and forth for really a long time, right? And it says Rosie O'Donnell responds to Donald Trump's threat to revoke her citizenship. So now Mr. Trump said to some reporters that he's thinking about taking Rosie O'Donnell's American citizenship away. Now I think that it's more like a shock jock type of thing with him. He doesn't have the power to take away someone's citizenship if they've been born here. Okay, so it says 4 months after because first of all, Rosie O'Donnell and her family, when he won the election in January, she stated before the election was totaled and before he became actually president that if he became president, that she was moving her family to Ireland. And that's exactly what Rosie O'Donnell did. When he took presidency for the second time, Rosie O'Donnell um, moved her family to Ireland. So it says 4 months after Rosie O'Donnell shared she now lives in Ireland after Donald Trump began his second term in the White House. The POTUS is threatening the comedian's U.S. citizenship, right? Trump shares he's muscling on possibility revoking O'Donnell's citizenship on his social media platform, Truth Social. Now, I read into it. The president does not have. It's funny. He can pardon someone from jail from whatever, but he doesn't have the right to take away someone's um, citizenship. So with them saying that, he says, being the fact that Rosie O'Donnell is not in the best interest of our great country, I'm giving serious consideration to taking away her citizenship. She is a threat to humanity and should remain in the wonderful country of Ireland if they want her. God bless America. This is the quote that Mr. Trump says. Now, they said, despite Trump's words, a U.S. president is not legally able to revoke citizenship. Okay, period. So most of the things, like a lot of the things, he's just throwing it up against the wall and see what kind of traction it gets. And I mean, some of it gets traction and some of it, but it is what it is. Um, well, Rosie, of course, being the comedian that she is and being the outspoken person that she is, right? She states that she already knows he can't revoke her citizenship, right? And what she did is she's been posting pictures of him and convicted child sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Um, so she wrote a note to Donald on her page, and it says, "Hey Donald, you are rattled again. 18 years later, and I still live rent free in that collapsing brain of yours." This is what she's saying, not me. "You can call me a threat to humanity, but I'm everything you fear." So look, so again, they're going back and forth, and anybody that pretty much, I'm just allegedly, anybody that threatens the president or doesn't go along with whatever he has going on at the moment, he's either now threatening you to take your citizenship away or to have you deported. Because if you don't know, he's also threatening Elon Musk with um, having him deported. Yeah, so they've been arguing back and forth for the past few weeks, right? And the thing is, now he's threatening Elon Musk with um, having him deported. Now I don't know how that would work. I don't even know, but this is the storyline. Elon Musk breaks silence following Donald Trump's threat of possible deportation. So, okay, we know. And these two, I didn't know that the friendship was really over or not or whatever. And it seems to be, allegedly. But apparently, now Donald's talking about trying to find ways to deport Elon Musk and to take Rosie O'Donnell's U.S. citizenship away because they don't agree with whatever he has going on. Right? Okay. So, with that being said, we're going to move along from that. We're going to leave that alone. And did you know that on the 4th of July, this past 4th of July, that a woman is now, she's done a report. She's stating that she was essayed on the Coney Island Boardwalk on the 4th of July. It says New York City woman haunted by horrifying July 4th essay on Coney Island, where she says bystanders laughed and filmed her being essayed like it was a movie. Um, she states that she went to Coney Island, I believe, at 10 o'clock at night to meet some friends or a friend at this point. She had met some other friend, had some other friends or met some other friends, but she really went there to meet a friend who never showed up, right? So what she's stating is that she joined in with another group. I guess she met them there and they just hung out. And then that went on for a few hours and then that crowd dispersed. And she said that while she was by herself, just getting herself together on the boardwalk, a man approached her, allegedly threw her against the gate and then down on some type of like a yoga mat that was there and started to essay her. And it said that people were just walking past while this was happening. Some were laughing, some were filming it as if it was a movie, like it was an attraction or something. But this woman was really being essayed on the boardwalk in Coney Island, and people watched and laughed and walked by. So she said allegedly after the assault happened, right? Um, he got up and walked away. She got up, tried to get herself together. As she began to walk away, the man appears again and begins to walk with her as if they're a couple. Um, this is disturbing on so many different levels because first off, this can happen to anyone. Again, I say to men and women, this is not just, you have to be careful. On the 4th of July, I don't see any reason that you're going out to Coney Island at 10 o'clock at night as a woman by yourself. Like I'm not judging. I'm just saying, guy, and you should be able to go and do whatever it is you want at any given time. But we know that's not true. That's not reality. So then you have to learn and start to protect yourself. Listen, I'm not judging one way or another, but the young woman, she went to the police. She had a essay kit done, and they're now looking for the man. Anything that comes out of it, I will definitely keep my eyes open and see what comes of it because this is very disturbing. And you mean to tell me not one person could come to just to check and see if she was okay? Okay, well, we often talk about the opioid addiction and the problems that certain cities are having, right? Well, did you know that just last week in Baltimore there was a at least 25 people hospitalized, and 5 of those 25 are in critical condition after mass overdose in Baltimore, which means, these were allegedly drug addicts and they all got this batch of bad drugs that made them overdose, right? So let me read you the story. First responders were dispatched to the Penn North neighborhood after at least 25 people experienced overdose symptoms. This on Thursday, July 10th. This just happened, right? So they once the paramedics and first responders started to arrive, right? They realized that they didn't quite know at first how many, but it seemed like they said that it seemed like every corner and every alley that they could see, there were people overdosing. First responders were alerted to a mass casualty event in Baltimore on the morning of Thursday, July 10th. At least 25 people had to be hospitalized, while paramedics also distributed life-saving medication to victims in the North Penn neighborhood. Today's mass overdose event at Penn and North serves as a powerful reminder of how the city's ongoing battle against the opioid epidemic. Baltimore City State Attorney Ivan Bates said in a statement per local outlet. At least 2 dozen people had to be hospitalized amid an apparent mass overdose in Baltimore. They said at around 9:25 a.m. local time, first responders from the Baltimore City Fire Department and the Baltimore City Health Department were dispatched to the Penn North neighborhood following reports of a mass casualty incident involving multiple individuals exhibiting overdose symptoms at one time, according to the Facebook post shared by both agencies. Now, this is what, like, I mean, imagine walking down the street. This is how bad this is. You're walking down the street, and pretty much everywhere you can turn, there's someone laid out on the ground going through an overdose. 25 people at one time in different alleys, on different corners, because they all got these drugs and started to do them in different places. So with them doing it in different places, they were experiencing all these overdoses at one time in different places. That has to be. They said paramedics were soon informed by other patients in the area that at least 25 people had to be hospitalized, with 5 in critical condition even as of today. Multiple medics were put on standby to keep resources nearby as the crisis unfolded. Um, I don't know, but I also know that Baltimore and and Philly, and hell, plenty of places. But I'm just saying they have these um, huge overdoses because it takes one batch of bad drugs and enough people to buy them at one time and to take them at one time, and they all experience pretty much the same thing. Um, did you guys hear about the new swimming pool, the new public swimming pool in Central Park? Well, they're saying that the new swimming pool in Central Park, there's since it's opened, it's been it's just opened 2 weeks ago. And most people, a lot of New Yorkers are already calling it a disaster because what's happening is the pool is so big, right? The pool opened on June 27th. On June 27th, there was a 3 hour line of excessive crowds to get into this pool. I'm sure it's beautiful. It's in Central Park. But there's been numerous fights, groups of fights. You have people waiting online for 3 hours in the heat to get into a pool. And it's not like a restaurant where you go and say, you know what? Okay, now you sit at this table. You actually have this table for an hour and a half. But whatever happens within an hour and a half or 2 hours tops, you have to let the table go because there are people that have reservations. That doesn't happen in a pool. The pool is there to cool off and to hang out and to do things with your friends or whomever you're with. So there's like no real time limit. Well, like I said, these long lines of 3 to 4 hours have started a lot of fights. They said the excessive crowds and the 3 hour waits is just uncontrollable. And guess what now, people? They're finding feces in the pool. At some point, allegedly, people are defecating in the pool. I don't I don't know what this is about. I don't even know where something like this even. Uh, they said that the massive outdoor pool opened on June 27th, right? But swimmers are already reporting 3 hour waits, excessive crowds, and a lot of fighting. Witnesses have said some swimmers are even using the oval shaped 285 by 120-foot pool as their own personal bathtub and bathroom. Disgusting. Disgusting. I don't think I need to go to a pool that much. Is that important? Uh, they said that after every day, right? Get into this. They have to clean this pool every day. After the pool, they said there's like a 2 inch slick over the top of the pool. Like, you know how like you pour oil or you see an oil leak in the ocean and you see that oil floating on top of the, that's what they're saying that this pool looks like at the end of each day that it's open. Disgusting. Y'all putting this in your mouth and putting it in on your bodies and putting your kids in this. You guys are ridiculous. I don't even know what to say about it. And I am judging. I am. That's gross. It's gross. People are defecating in a pool, a public pool. So they're now using the public pool as a bathroom, as a bath. They said as a bathtub, and a toilet. Listen, and the top of it all, New York, everybody in New York ain't for you. They said that they don't ask for any IDs. Like anybody, any age can come into this pool. They're not turning anyone away. Um, that could be an issue, but I don't know. But that's disgusting. And again, I'm judging y'all running out to this pool, baby. It don't. And you know what I found out the other day? Now we talk about doctors and stuff, and we've talked about little issues, and you know how I've said to you in past videos, get a second opinion. And I understand sometimes like our doctors, we have a certain, it's like a relationship we have with our doctors. What we do, they're like family. We trust them. These are the people that we come to get bucket naked and for them to figure out what's going on with us. So we have to have some type of trust with them, right? You know what I'm saying? Okay. Well, do you know that Robin Williams, right? Doctors, I'm going to actually put this up because I want you to see this. And some of you may have heard of this, but I didn't hear of it. And his son actually did this report, and he wanted us to know that always get a second opinion. It doesn't matter how close you are and how much you love your doctor. When they diagnose you with something that's life-threatening, get a second opinion. They're not diagnosing, oh, you have the flu. Oh, you have a cold. Oh, you have a viral infection. Those things you can deal with. But when they're telling you have Parkinson's disease, you have cancer, you have different things, get you a second opinion. Well, doctors misdiagnosed Robin Williams with Parkinson's disease. And it wasn't until his autopsy that they confirmed he suffered from Lewy body dementia, which can have the same symptoms but are different. So for 2 years, he was diagnosed before he passed, and he took his own life, as most of us know. And if you didn't, he took his own life. And I'm wondering, I know that sometimes people have mental things, but I'm wondering, he was diagnosed 2 years before he took his life, and they were clearly treating him for something that he didn't have, even though the symptoms were similar, right? Could that have done anything to his psyche because he felt he wasn't getting better? So he decided, I'm just playing devil's advocate. Could that have had anything to do with his psyche? He was, again, told 2 years before he took his life that he had Parkinson's disease, which he didn't. He had Lewy body dementia. Okay, so let's see what they're saying and what his son is saying and what other specialists are saying, right? Um, the son is just stating really pretty much in so many things, get a second opinion. They didn't find out what was really wrong with his dad until after his autopsy. So get that second opinion. Like I said, anything life threatening, you should get a second opinion anyway, because doctors are not God and doctors are human. They can make mistakes, and you just have to have that in mind. Yeah, so definitely. Okay. Now, did you guys hear about the 31 police officers that was hired between 2023 and 2024 were improperly hired, and they lied on their applications? Some had, allegedly, some had drug issues, some had been arrested, some had, it's all the things that we're not supposed to have to be a police officer. They apparently did. And this was discovered after, allegedly, you notice that the police department, the higher ups in the police department, commissioner and directors, have changed a few times in the past few years because there were supposed to be some corruption going on where they were selling promotions for like $15,000. So I'm assuming if you wanted to go from street to detective, you could pay $15,000, allegedly. You can go from lieutenant to sergeant, however that goes, for $15,000, and that's why they have been resigning, and a new one, and a new one, and a new one. But again, this is New York. The police department is pretty much like transit. They get away with any and everything, allegedly, and that's my opinion. Growing up, being born and bred in New York. Okay. It says approximately 31 officers have been fired from the NYPD due to hiring discrepancies. The officer was improperly hired in 2023 and 2024 following allegations of corruption, right, against the department's former leaders. That's what I said. If you notice, the police commissioner, the police directors allegedly have been turning over for the past 2 or 3 years, staying 6 months. Then there's another one, and there's another one because the corruption allegedly is running rampant through the police department. However, a judge has temporarily blocked the firing and forced resignations because one person out of the 31 resigned off top. As soon as it came into light, he must have already knew allegedly that it was scrambled, so he resigned. But the other 30, they're waiting to fire them. But again, because you are an officer, at this point you're covered by a union, and apparently, you were hired. These officers have been walking the streets, walking the beats with a firearm, with a badge, knowing that they've had drug issues, allegedly. They've been arrested, allegedly. They have all types of different things that they should have never been fired. And what they're saying is these